Hey man, Shane here. There are a ton of popular YouTube videos talking about how Hollywood body transformations are unrealistic and unsustainable. And there's some truth to that. The average person is quite overweight, so for them, even just cutting down to a healthy body fat percentage can be surprisingly difficult. Most of these Hollywood transformations are coming at it from the other side though. From our side, the naturally skinny side. They aren't losing a dramatic amount of fat, they're building an impressive amount of muscle, and they're doing it suspiciously fast. Many of us can do that too. Let's dive into it. The main reason people find Hollywood body transformations so suspicious is that these actors are bulking up so quickly. It's not that they're getting unreasonably muscular, it's just that they're building muscle at a seemingly impossible pace. For example, in a recent video by Josh Brett, he talks about how most people can only gain 20 pounds of muscle during their first year of lifting. He makes it seem like some sort of immutable law of muscle growth, but it's not. It's not a real statistic. Many newbies, especially skinny ones, are able to bulk up much faster than that. That's true for actors, and it's also true for us. I know this because I've seen it so many times. In myself, in my friends and family members, in the skinny clients I coach, and when talking with other people who help skinny guys bulk up. During my first bulk, I went from 130 pounds up to 150 pounds in 3 months with barely any increase in body fat. I took a year off from lifting and I came back to it a year later. During my second bulk, I went from 150 pounds up to 167 pounds in another 4 months. And again, most of the weight gain appeared to be muscle. In the 7 months that I spent actively bulking up, I gained 37 pounds. I also guided my roommate, Jared, through his first bulk. He gained 27 pounds in his first 4 months of lifting weights. I've worked with thousands of skinny guys and I see this kind of thing all the time. Skinny newbies are able to gain muscle surprisingly fast. It might sound controversial, but if you ask anyone who works with skinny guys, they'll tell you the same thing. Plus, even if we were only able to gain 20 pounds of muscle during our first year of lifting, that doesn't take into account the extra body fat gain, the extra glycogen storage, the extra fluid retention, the extra food in our guts, or how creatine can pull water into our muscles. When someone says they've gained 20 pounds of muscle, they aren't saying they gained 20 pounds of literal muscle. They're just talking about how they gained 20 pounds of weight on the scale without gaining a disproportionate amount of body fat. For example, take a look at Christian Bale in Batman. He did a great job of bulking up, but he isn't anywhere near as lean as he was in his earlier movies. That extra mass is part of what's making him look so much bigger. For another example, I started bulking up 8 months ago, around the same time as I started this YouTube channel. I've been gaining half a pound per week and have gone from 183 pounds up to 203 pounds. Not all that weight was muscle, but even my wife can't tell. She just thinks I've gotten bigger. The other thing to keep in mind is that when these thinner actors are bulking up for movie roles, they aren't getting that big. They don't look like natural bodybuilders who have been lifting weights for 20 years. They don't look like they've been blasting performance-enhancing drugs, and they don't even seem like they have particularly great muscle-building genetics. They look like regular guys who have done a good job of following a good bulking program. Take a look at Brad Pitt in Fight Club. He's 160 or maybe 170 pounds, and he looks awesome. He did a great job of building muscle. But he's not immensely strong or muscular. It's not an unrealistic transformation. We're talking about a new lifter gaining 10 or 20 pounds of muscle over the course of a few months. After that, he built even more muscle for Troy, and when he did, he started gaining some fat, making him look even bigger. For some other examples, take a look at Joseph Gordon-Levitt after he bulked up for Don John. He's still a thin guy, he's just in much better shape, and it shows. Or take a look at Tom Holland when he bulked up for Spider-Man, or Alexander Skarsgård when he bulked up for Tarzan. My point is, thinner physiques already look pretty good, and you don't need to get that big before you start looking even better. If you want to build a body like one of these actors, you absolutely can, and you can probably do it fairly quickly, just like they did. The next thing to consider is how these actors look off camera in their regular everyday lives. When you see Alexander Skarsgård in Tarzan or in The Northman, he's covered in dirt, he's flexing his abs, he's lit by flattering studio lighting, and it's right after he finished doing some curls to pump up his biceps.
We should pump for this, right?
Yeah. We actually have a mobile gym on set as well, a couple of dumbbells and a bar. So the days when he's shirtless and we want that pumped look, we're actually lifting a little weights before he's on.
That sort of commitment and discipline boggles my mind. He looks phenomenal. Yeah, he's really transformed his entire body.
When you see him in his regular life, he looks like a regular guy who lifts weights and eats a good diet. He's in good shape, but it's nothing out of the ordinary. You don't need to do anything crazy to look like this, and you definitely don't need to take steroids. You see the same thing with most actors. How they look in movies is comparable to how you might look after taking the perfect selfie and applying a few filters. And then how they look in interviews is how you might expect to look in your regular everyday life, like a normal, athletic, healthy person. I'm not trying to say that bulking up is easy. It's not. Proper hypertrophy training means following a good program and pushing yourself quite hard. Eating a balanced diet usually involves some planning and some extra work. And perhaps most of all, eating in a consistent calorie surplus can be brutal, especially for naturally skinny guys. I'm not trying to say that it's simple either. I'm sure you've realized by now that there's more to building muscle than just lifting hard and eating big. It's a whole new hobby to learn, a whole new skill set. And the learning curve can be pretty steep, especially if you're unathletic, like me, and you never learned any of this stuff while you were growing up. Most of the guys who get the best results are following a program, working with a coach, or getting the help of a mentor. You don't have to do that, but if you're trying to figure it out by yourself, it will probably take you at least a little bit longer. Alright, that's it for now. If you liked the video, thank you. And if you want to learn more about skinny genetics and aesthetics, you might like our last video. I hope to see you after the time jump.